Happy to be with you guys here today. I will tell you this, I want to be accessible. I want you guys to express your opinions, but realize that in this room, there's probably about as many opinions as there are people. Realize that in any organization, it doesn't matter if you're in politics or a family or a church, you're not going to find two people that agree on everything. As a matter of fact, if everybody in your church agrees with everything the minister says, you might be in a cult. We're not in a cult. Not as a party. We're not.
My question really just comes down to, do you believe that Mr. Musk is doing the appropriate work and the appropriate method apparently asked by the president? And if so, why?
So this is the most commonly asked question. We kind of reviewed all the questions. This is the number one question, so we want to address it right up front because some of you really wanted to have this addressed. Let me explain how the history of the review process in government works just historically. Whether you go all the way back to Carter, Reagan, Clinton, Obama, Bush, they all had review processes. Sometimes it was called the Grace Commission. Sometimes it was called digital services. They always had access in order to review where the money goes in government. President Trump renamed it the DOGE, but they have the same information access as the digital services. Wait. I'm going to explain something. So for about 1 hour, one person had more access than they were supposed to. He didn't use it. He didn't even know he had it. And then they closed the loop. They're government employees. I would like to be able to finish, if you don't mind, then you can make your comments. There are government employees that have access to information in order to track where the money is going. There's a lot of people upset about this because they think, oh, these people have access to my personal information. Guess what? The IRS has tons of information on your personal information. This is going to go really slowly if you don't let me finish. You got to let me finish. You got to let me finish. You can disagree with me all you want, but I'm just telling you the way it is. And I get that you don't agree with me and you think I'm not telling the truth. But that's, unless they're lying to me, and you can say they are, so who? Okay. So apparently you know more than I do, so that's fine. I don't know what you're here to hear me for. So the point being, that my understanding of DOGE is very similar to digital services, and they are tracking a lot of money that has gone to a lot of places it shouldn't have gone.
Elon was going to be the main topic tonight, and he's going to continue to be the main topic tonight because we are all freaking pissed off about this. You're going to hear it and feel it. However, relative to your experience as a service member, thank you for your service. According to your bio, your deployment to various areas of conflict, I would like to know your opinion and your stance on the current situation created by the president, wherein he is now saying that Ukraine is responsible for the war that Russia has initiated. And I would like to know if you as a congressman will get with your fellow congresspeople and stand up to the lies that are being told to the Americans. And I would also like to know if you believe that the 80-year-old alliance that we have with our European allies is strong enough to withstand the attack from our White House, because this is a dangerous, dangerous precedent. You as a serviceman should help us.
I believe what Reagan said 40 years ago and point to Hawk, which he said, isolationism never was and never will be the answer to a tyrannical expansionist government. I've been to Kyiv. I've actually sat with President Zelensky in person. I think we could have ended the war very quickly, quite frankly. If Europe and the United States, which is a cumulative of $47 trillion, goes against Russia, who has a GDP of $2 trillion, we should be able to defeat them pretty rapidly. And I told President Zelensky, I said, if you really want to continue support, because I understand how that waxes or wanes over time, right? I said, just make sure that the money goes to the place it needs to go, because Americans won't understand if it goes to a teacher's pension. It'll understand if it goes to the military to fight a war, but we have teachers' pensions too. And A bunch of this went to USAID and a bunch went to the World Bank, and it was supposed to just disseminate in appropriate manners. That's what we're investigating right now. Now, I'm not sure because, and Zelensky, I think, is an honest broker of what he's trying to accomplish. He wants to save his nation. And I want Ukraine to win, and President Trump said he wants to, and I know you're gonna get, this is what he said. But it's in our best interest, it's in our best interest, in my opinion, and by the way, this splits the Republican Party down the middle. Half the Republicans support, half the, have repeatedly spoken up on this, repeatedly. I'm speaking about it right now, and I voted for Ukraine.
If those cuts, as you said on Fox News, I believe, that there's hundreds of billions of dollars to be saved with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security that needs to be cut. And why not take that money from taxing the billionaires and corporations instead?
You're talking about the Medicaid, Medicare. His original question was, there's a lot of cuts that are coming down. What are we going to do about Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security? Actually, President Trump has been pretty quick to say he doesn't want to touch Social Security. Now, I believe we have to. And let me tell you how. Let me tell you how. This is a bipartisan solution. Please listen. I've talked to several of my Democratic colleagues about a bipartisan solution to Social Security. We'll start there, and we'll work down to the other two here in a second. You can actually adjust it. And you have to, by the way, if you don't do something in about 7 years, we'll have an automatic 21% cut. We won't vote on that. That just happens. It's already built in. I'm trying to stop that from happening. Can we talk about a bipartisan solution, please?
What are you going to do to make our school system strong? And if we're going to be a red state or a blue state, I don't care, but what are we going to do to make sure our schools stay good, our kids stay healthy?
So actually, I'm an educator for 4 years. I taught in private and public schools as an associate professor. I take education very seriously. My middle child received IEP, is that what it's called, for the special needs. So this is my middle child who's full grown now and doing well in college, who I've encouraged to go to a technical school so he can make a living and not be replaced by AI and do some things that really would benefit his life based on his individual talents. I take education very seriously. I think AI can be transformative. I think we're...
Hey, let him get through the question, please. Please. If you would let him finish, maybe he will answer the question. Stop interrupting him.
I want to say that from a conservative perspective, the approach of DOGE is completely 180 degrees. They've been indiscriminate and they've taken a chainsaw to these things. We've seen that with workers from the nuclear workers, the NNSA, our nuclear stockpile, and CDC workers working on the bird flu being fired by DOGE and then having to be rehired when someone realizes, oh gosh, we need those people.
So I've been down to CDC several times. Actually, Dr. Howery, one of my former attendings, works there, and I'm in close contact with the CDC. They have about, what, 13,000 employees? 13,000 employees at the CDC. In the last couple of years, those probationary people, which is about 10% of their employee base, which is about 1,300 people, which you're referring to, a lot of the work they do is duplicitous with AI. Once again, one of the problems we have, I happen to be a doctor, I know a few things, okay? Just give me a break. If we continue to grow the size of government and we can't afford it, it's going to have shortfalls in your Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and other things that we can't afford, guys. We have to make some decisions. Nobody can hear him when you're yelling. Please let him continue.
Trying to do more with less.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. What's not reasonable is taking this chainsaw approach, which they obviously admit when they fired these people and then decided, oh, we fired the wrong people. We got to bring them back in. Why is this being jammed down the pipe so rushed and sloppily?
So
Use a scalpel.
my understanding is when you say you have this many employees that you have to cut, that organization decides who they're going to cut. Now nobody can hear him and nobody can hear you, so please be respectful.
My point, though, is the conservative approach is to take this in a slow and methodical way so that you make sure you do it right. And that's not happening.
So when it comes to spending, and this is where we will agree, or hopefully, maybe we don't agree, but when we talk about presidential powers, now I've always been a big person that believes that the president should never do anything that affects monetary, basically taxation or anything that has an impact, economic impact over 100 million. There's actually a REINS Act that doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, executive orders are limited because I think that's fair. I think it should be in balance, right? And you can say, oh, I don't like it when Trump does this and I don't like it when Biden does this. I personally think we have to go more slow. But I'm not the president, and this is going to be litigated, and it's going to play itself out in public opinion. But this is also a reaction to growing the government rapidly, just like it's shrinking rapidly. Maybe not to the same extreme, but this is a reaction to something that's happened by expanding the government rapidly.
I'm a direct descendant of Susanna Henry Madison, one of Patrick Henry's younger sisters, and a cousin by marriage of James Madison. Do you know who Patrick Henry was and James Madison, sir? I'm so glad to hear that. While arguing the need for the American Revolution, Patrick Henry said, "A king is a tyrant. If a wrong step is made now, the republic will be lost forever and tyranny will rise." I believe you know the rest of his speech, something about give me liberty. It's clear from all the writings of our founding fathers that our great republic was never meant to be ruled by a dictator nor a king. So you can imagine my shock and pure horror when I woke up to find that our president had given himself unprecedented executive powers and then within a few days named himself king to his followers. Tyranny.
Yeah,
Tyranny.
Virginia, do you have a question for the congressman?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Thank you. Okay. Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you, and not listening.
Hey, let's restore some order. Let's restore some order. Hey, let's restore some order.
So
Stop
yelling at me is not going to get any answer, okay?
Hey.
Like I said, we're not going to yell.
Point of order. Hey, let's get through this. Congressman, hey.
Yeah. I've seen Game of Thrones too, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on because if you're not going to listen, to the answer, we might as well not discuss it, right? Do you want to hear the answer? If you'd stop yelling, I will answer. Otherwise, we'll move on. If you would stop talking for a second, I will answer your question, okay? So if you listen to what we've projected, and this goes both parties, by the way. This is a bipartisan problem. REINS Act, the REINS Act which reins in executive power for both parties, whoever's in party power. And I think it could be tweaked actually to be much better. I don't think executive privilege should be as strong as it is. I think we're out of balance right now. I think your direct representation, whether you like me or not, I'm the closest thing you have to a representative. Your senator's not going to be as representative as me, and the president's not going to be as representative as me when it comes to you, the people in this district. Likewise, I think state government needs to be more powerful than federal government. It used to be that federal funds only made up 1/3 of the money spent, and states was 2/3. It's more representative of your money and your money spent. That's better. Always push government down to the local level because you'll get better representation. I don't want to see the president make all the decisions. I don't. I answered it directly. I said, I don't want to see any president be too powerful.
We're going to move on to the next question, sir.
If we're not going to have a conversation, go ahead and move to the next question. If you're yelling, that means you're part of the problem, okay?
Ben Pearson from Alpharetta, which I don't think you're here, or maybe you're in the overflow room, Ben. But his question for you, sir, is do you support RFK Jr.? If so, please explain how supporting him aligns with the Hippocratic oath you took.
So just like every bureaucrat and just like every politician, I have differences of opinion with him. I do.
On January 9th, 2025, you joined as a sponsor of H.R. 22 SAVE Act. This means that me and 69 million women like me who have taken their spouse's last name will not be eligible to vote. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me why you are trying to take away my right to vote.
So if you're saying this bill is going to take away 69 million people's right to vote, I disagree.
Every single news outlet, Fox, CNN, every news outlet that is reporting on this are saying that it is going to make it incredibly difficult for any woman who has a married last name to vote. It is a voter suppression law that you signed on as a sponsor of, and I want to know why you're scared for me to vote.
I'm definitely not scared of you vote. If you'll let me talk, I think you'll see that we were just down at an IT conference and a bipartisan approach to voter ID. Now, they actually have digital ID that we can do in the future that's going to solve a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. And this is a Democrat. Wait, no, this is a Democrat. I'm going to tell you what a Democrat solution is that I agree with, if you'll allow me. If it's a bipartisan issue or not. Do we want to come to a conclusion where we can agree and move on? Or do you just want to yell at me and call me names? If you want to do that, I can just stand back here and you can just yell at me. But if you want to solve this problem, we can actually give I'll just sit back here and just let you yell at me if you like.
No, McCormick, I hear what you're saying about a digital solution.
Trying to come up with a solution,
but the
guys.
SAVE Act that you are sponsoring requires a paper ballot. It requires a paper birth certificate. It requires you to show up in person. It takes away everything digital that you're talking about. It requires in-person voting registration with a birth certificate that matches your current legal last name. It is voter suppression. It is not a bipartisan solution.
Good job.
Mr. Kent Agramont from Roswell.
So I'm happy to review what it says, but because I disagree with you, I don't think it says that. And I don't think it disenfranchises 69 million people. You can yell all you want, or we can have a discussion, and you can come in, we can actually go over the line by line. Look, guys, here's the deal. I came here to have a discussion. I think a lot of you didn't come here in good faith to have a discussion. You came here to yell at me and to boo me. The fact that I came here was because I knew there'd be about 75% of the people that were unhappy, and I wanted to have a discussion about how we can get to the end point and solve some problems. I didn't have to come here. My staff didn't have to come here. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. There is no law that says Congressman McCormick has to stand here in front of you. This is my, well, how many town halls have we done?
4.
We've done 4 town halls, and I continue to come back, and I'll continue to come back. But if you want to have a discussion, we can have a discussion. But this is about solving problems, not about just yelling at each other. Because once again, we don't convince each other by yelling. We convince each other by sitting down and figuring out how we solve a problem. That's it.